Hello, my name is Joe Cortez. I want to welcome you to our segment of Hope in the Horizon. We're here at the Spinal Cord Research Center in Irvine, California, with our director, Dr. R. Stewart. Dr. Stewart, can you tell us a little bit about the amazing things that are going on here at the Research Center?
We're a center that houses somewhere on the order of 80 to 90 scientists right now. Some of the best experts in the world in areas of regeneration, of nerve connections, in stem cell biology, and in human recovery after spinal cord injury. We work together with scientists from all over the campus in bringing a focus to spinal cord injury that I think is probably one of the unique centers in the world in that regard.
Now, let me ask you a question. There is hope in the horizon for our patients out there.
Absolutely.
And you've been telling me about the great things that are happening lately. Just touch a little bit on some of the most important topics that our audience wants to know about.
Excellent. There are really three primary areas of focus for people who have suffered a spinal cord injury. The first area that's so terribly important is what happens in the minutes to hours to days after a person suffers a spinal cord injury. It makes a huge difference in outcome, how people are treated in that early time frame. We're studying cellular processes here that contribute to injury or contribute to repair. And of course, you want to minimize the injury part and maximize the repair part. So understanding some of the key molecular events that go on early on is first in terms of priority for people who have suffered a spinal cord injury. The second most important thing is maximizing the innate ability to recover. That is, making it possible for people to really fulfill what is their potential for whatever injury that they have. If a person has an injury at the cervical level in the neck, the priority is getting hand function back, to be able to do day-to-day activities, to eat, to drive. If an injury is lower, the focus is on being able to move, to transfer, to be able to regain, hopefully, bowel, bladder, sexual function, all of these things. So recovery of function. And then the third most important thing is regenerative medicine, regeneration. How do we make it possible for the connections that go from the brain down to the spinal cord to regrow and hopefully restore the functions that have been lost as a consequence of that injury?
You're talking about recent injuries, something that happened, let's say it happened today, and we got to get working on it right away. How about for those individuals that are out there that have had long-term injuries? Let's say I have a daughter who's a quadriplegic, as you well know, Cindy. And Cindy has been a quadriplegic for the last 13 years. And she feels that there is hope for her.
Absolutely.
And I want to know, what can you tell them about those who have been in long-term with paralysis?
Yes, absolutely. And so it's that third area that I was talking about that I think is the greatest hope for people with long-term paralysis. We talk here about regeneration, regrowing connections, restoring function, and every kind of aspect of repair is something that we are interested in here at the center. Probably the thing that gets the most attention from the public is the stem cell work that's going on. The idea there is to restore communication between the brain and the spinal cord by restoring the myelin sheath, the insulation around the nerve connections that run between the brain and the spinal cord. And thanks to work that was done by Hans Kierstead here at our center, a clinical trial is approved by the FDA. It's currently on clinical hold, but we hope to launch that trial later on. Now, initially, that's going to be for recently injured people, but of course, our goal is to get those same therapies to people with long-term injuries. The greatest hope, I think, really, is in regenerating connections. It's the loss of the communication between the brain and the spinal cord. And that is what my lab focuses on, and I think we have some incredible new findings just over the last year that offer, I think, the best hope that I've ever seen.
Well, Dr. Oz, that really is great. Now, can you tell us a little bit about what else is going on here in your facility today?
Sure, absolutely, Joe. I think the thing that is really most critical to know is that there are things going on to improve the function of people with long-standing spinal cord injuries. Today. It's not research, it's not in the future, it's today. For example, one of the projects that we have going on right now involves helping people who have partial function be able to function better. And the logic of this is actually, you'll understand from your sports background. The situation is, for example, I mean, I think in terms of golf, maybe there's other examples. If you're going to perfect a golf swing, what you do is image in your brain how you're going to do it. You watch your hands go forward, you watch the ball, don't pick up your head. That is practicing, mental practice, before you actually execute whatever it is that you're trying to do. Maybe there are things like that in boxing too. What we're trying to do is use the same kind of approach and philosophy for people with spinal cord injuries to learn how to walk better. So they actually go and imagine practicing walking, doing the movement that they're going to do, and then they go do it, and then we combine that with actually imaging their brain. So it's kind of an imaging on one side and imaging on the other side as well. And we're trying to understand how that kind of practice can make it so that people can actually improve their function. So this is a research project, and we don't know the final answer to this. One of the things that we need to find out is what kind of mental practice is best for people who are trying to learn how to walk. How much time do you need to spend on it? So we'll be putting the data together over the next few months and hopefully be able to come to some better understanding of what actually we need to do for people.
Great, great. Well, you know, we spoke earlier today with Dr. Kelly Sharp, who's a great individual here at the Research Center. Let's see what she had to say today.
Hey Kelly, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
I'd like to introduce Joe Cortez. Joe is here hosting
Hi, how
our
are
new
you?
show, Hope in the Horizon.
Okay.
And Kelly is over here in our Center for Human Subject Research. She's doing some of the work on improving function for people with long-term spinal cord injuries.
Well, so how long have you been doing this, Kelly?
I've been doing it since 1998.
Yeah, so what are your facility, I mean, what do you do here per se?
So what we're focusing on in this study in particular is that we're working on individuals with spinal cord injury, and we're working with trying to improve their function in their walking, in their gait, over with using also mental practice. So for example, when you actually when you walk, you're thinking about doing an action while you're walking. So that's what we're focusing on. So we do physical therapy, and then we do a mental practice session to improve gait function after injury.
And how many times a week do they come, or is it?
They come 3 times a week for an hour a week.
An hour a week.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what, a clinical trial?
It's a clinical study. So we're funded by NIH to do this study. We got a grant for it. And so there's also an MRI component too. So we look at the brain before we do the treatment, and we look at the brain after the treatment with an MRI, a functional MRI. So we want to look and see if we've improved their ability to bring their nose to their toe after our treatment. And then we'll look at the brain and see what the activity is going on before and after our treatment to see if we've made a cortical difference as well. So the idea is if you have any type of spinal cord input changes after the treatment, and looking in the brain as well.
So well, you got good results with this? What kind of positive results are we getting?
So far, anecdotally, I haven't really broken the code, but most of my subjects have improved on the Asia score. So there's an examination that you do before and after the testing, and you want to look and see if their function is improved.
Well, that was great. Dr. Sharp is an amazing person. What she's doing at the center with the patients, I mean, what we saw there today is a great inspiration for the patients out there and for those that really want to know what's going on at the Reverb Center. What do you think, Dr. Oz?
Well, I just have to say, if there's a single thing that we've learned over the last 3 to 4 years, it is that everyone with a spinal cord injury can benefit by focus training, by exercising. There are ways to improve function now. We want people to be in the best possible condition before they would be taking on the additional burden of any kind of an experimental therapy later on. And the best way to be ready and the best way to be able to have maximal function now is to do the kinds of things that we and others have found really make a difference to quality of life.
That's great. Well, you heard it there from Dr. R. Stewart himself here at the Reverb Spinal Cord Research Center. And this segment of Hope in the Horizon is a great segment. You'll be watching us every week. We'll have information for you every week from now on, so you can see what's really going on, and hope to keep you very much informed at the Reverb Center. Again, this is a segment that you cannot miss. Stay up. Watch us 24/7. We're there for you. Hope at the horizon. Joe Cortez and Dr. Stewart, thanks so much.
Thanks, Joe.